Today we're working on a 2015 Ford Escape. We're going to be doing the timing chain and water pump. Now you want to get this guy off here. Where they're going to pull this pin aside. And then you're able to get it off. I don't know if you can see that. And then there's this side as well. Click them off like so. Alright. We're gonna take off this intake. There's one down here underneath the throttle body, so you will have to take it off. Once that's all off, we can pull this out of here. Remember, there is a hose in the back, so we're gonna have to get to that guy. This one right here. We gotta get it right in the kisser. And once we get it off like so, this guy just pulls right off. It goes right off, mates. Just like that. Just like so. When you get them in there and they're really in there, you have to twist them out to get them out. Now you want to get these spark plugs out. There's a 6-cylinder on this guy, so we got 6 spark plugs for 6 tunnels for 6 pistons, and so forth and so on. Here's some more soothing sounds for you. For y'all that like that ASMR. Yeah. And just like that, you got it out. Alright, now once you loosen all of those, and you loosen these, run the valve cover on the top front and get all of the electrical lines off. Then you can go ahead and get this guy off. Work this guy off. There's 2 little clips on the bottom. Down here you'll push together and you'll use a flathead to push it out. Really hard to do on camera, so I had to do that off. Oh, we got it. Prying at this thing for a minute, yo. It's off there now. So the vacuum on this car sucks it down real tight. You're gonna have to get something big to get this guy out. Once you guys get all these off, this is the worst part. I usually just get new ones, but sometimes we get them off. If you're a little better at it than me, by all means, I'll buy some new ones. That's how you get it off. Now we just pull it out. We gotta get this bolt, actually, guys. Use your noggin. Want to invest in one of these guys. We're gonna get this on here. Like so. Crank her back. You want to get this guy off. Comes out of there just like so. I use this to get in there and do that. Then we got a bolt there. Bolt there. Line that I took off, that I showed you earlier. And yeah, this guy should come out. We can get the belt off. Now that we got the belt off, we can work our magic on the back end. Now to get to the back ones, same amount of bolts. I got them all off already, guys. I'm about ready to pull it off. Just gotta get something under it to pry it, which I'm gonna use a crowbar, or try to, and we're gonna get it off. There's one bolt on this side, and there's two on that side. And then there's two here, and one there. Get the harmonic balancer off, then you can go ahead and get these mounts off. You'll have to get this hose as well. But you can use a flathead, a couple flatheads on both sides and get it off, but there is a tool that you want to get for that. Now we get the harmonic balancer off using a universal jaw puller and the bolts. Now here on the screen is a diagram of what you're gonna want to get bolts wise on this pan. I'm not going to be able to show you guys that in the video. Now we're going to start taking off these studs. These are E8s, by the way. You want to make sure you get them all the way down with the E-torque. Come on, just like that. See what it looks like when it comes out. You can access the harmonic balancer and most of the bolts by jacking up the engine after you take off the mount with the piece of wood underneath on the oil pan to avoid any damages to it. And then you can get access to these bolts. Then you just go ahead and take them out. And you pry on the body there. After you get them out, you pry on the body and it'll pop right off. There shouldn't be too much force. You don't want to break these. They are expensive and they are very thin and easy to break. Alright, now that you got the cover off, you were very careful picking all the bolts off and you got that gasket off. This is what it should look like, guys. We'll be starting with this tensioner here. Once you remove the old one by removing the 8 bolts, after loosening this tensioner, you should be able to wiggle it out. And that's what it should look like after you get it out. Here's the new one. And with that, the new water pump is installed. Now we will quickly tighten up those 8 bolts, those 8 millimeters, and we'll be right back with you. Now you remove this one. This guide chain right here, and you're going to remove that guide as well. Then you'll loosen this one with the 8 millimeter bolt that's up underneath there, and then you'll have access to the water pump. Now we can throw in the tensioner. Alright, this is the second new one. That's the old. That will be going in right here with one bolt. Now after you get it on there, this is what it should look like with the bolts in. The longer bolt goes on the bottom and the shorter one will go up top. Make sure you remember that. Now we'll be putting on the new guides. That's what it should look like once you got it in. This is the side-by-side comparison. As you can see, this one is extended, this one is not. That's because it still has its pin inside, grenade pin. Throw this thing, it's probably lethal. No, I'm just playing. Anyway, we're gonna be throwing that in down here. A lot of people tend to forget this bolt. Please do not forget it. If you can't get the cover off, more than likely that's the reason why. Alright, after you let it cure and you get all the bolts secured and tightened down, don't forget this one. We're gonna get that harmonic balancer on, and once you get that guy on and you get it secured, Then we can start putting on the valve covers. The mount can be pretty difficult to line up considering the weight of this engine. Get you a 3-ton jack, a slab of wood, and you see the dip on that oil pan? We're gonna put the wood right there on the dip, and it should push it forward enough with the wood for you to get it in place. Next, you want to put this on. This is the oil transfer. Sends it between the units. Now we can put the spark plugs in. If you have these that are Bosch that are ungapped, there is a gapping tool. To do this, you'll be putting the gap tool upside down like so. And you'll be taking the spark plug, putting it on the thinner end, just like so, and you run it down like so. Book manual states that we are going to be putting these around the 50 mark, just to be safe, in between where it's supposed to be in the max. Once you reach your correct gap mark, then you can go ahead and install these. Then we can go ahead and insert them, doing it by hand so we don't cross thread these, being very gentle. And you let it do its work for you. Let gravity do the work. No pushing involved. And then we're gonna put this back one on. To put the spark plugs in, you will need a 5/8 or a 16mm socket and a spark plug. You'll stick it in through the top here. And usually they have a little holder so you don't have to hold them in. This is your valve cover. We're gonna be putting this on the car right here. Here's me inserting that third one. Just like so. Remember, let gravity do the work. And twist it in by hand. Now we're gonna get this guy on, making sure that we don't clip these guys here. Those solenoids. Once you get it lined up just right, all the bolts will sit in their holes, and all you gotta do is give them a twist. Now, using a 10mm and a small extension on a ratchet, you're gonna want to start tightening these bolts. I like to do them in a star pattern all the way across. Not too tight, because you don't want to break these. I would invest in one of these ball-headed extensions. These guys are a lifesaver. Oh yeah, those are beautiful. Let gravity do the work. You're just turning it. If it doesn't go in easy, it's probably not right. Then you want to go in and give them a nice snug. You don't want to go too tight. Just snug. I have a V6, so I have 6 spark plugs. If you have a V8, you'll have 8 of them. Another way you could do this, if you don't have a socket that holds it in there, take it real far in there with your fingers and let it sit, just like so. Once you drop it in, then you can take your extension with your socket. Get it on there. Once you get it on there, like I said, let gravity do the work. If you did them by hand earlier, it shouldn't be too many turns. Like so. Now you can get your coil packs and get them on top of your spark plugs. Now you get these small 8mm and insert them in the holes. Again, you don't want to make these too tight. Just snug them. Now we get these guys off. And we get off all of these bolts. And that's how it's done, y'all. Engine is running smooth. Everything is in time. Nothing is clicking. We have a running car, ready to drive again. I'm gonna put the wheel on and we're done. Get at us at the next video. Alright guys, once you get the valve covers off, you can get a tool like this to lock your cams in place. After you get your cams locked in place, before you get your cams locked in place, you have to take these off. There's two of them. One's on the left side and one's on the right side. So once you take those two guys off, I marked mine, one with the marker and one without it, so I know which side goes to what. There are small dots on this guy here that line up with these top ones, these top brass bolts, and that'll tell you if you're in time. So I have the bolts, I have the cams lined up with the bolts there, and I have the harmonic nice and locked in. As you can see right here, we're all locked in. And it's nice and flush. You want to make sure it's like that. And then you're going to take your other one, and you're going to drop it over the top. Just like so. See how it goes flush? Bam, we're locked in. Okay. And with everything back together, and you got your fluids in, you're ready to start the vehicle.